This is Porsche's all-new hypercar. It's called the Mission X, and it's a successor to the iconic 918 Spider and legendary Carrera GT, and Porsche is getting ready to try to break the Nürburgring lap record with it. This means it'll have to beat the AMG 1's current lap record, and that's basically a Formula 1 car with a roof and an extra seat. So it's pretty extreme. In fact, this new Porsche has plenty of tricks up its sleeve, and in this video, I'll tell you all about them because I'm Matt. What so? Mission X isn't the first Porsche hypercar since the 918 Spider. Ever heard of the 9119 Street concept? This was basically a road-going version of the 9119 prototype that Porsche raced at Le Mans up until 2017. Porsche didn't tell anyone about the car until 2020, and by then, the project had already been scrapped, but Porsche couldn't get the idea of a new lemon-inspired hypercar out of its head because it's back with a brand new flagship called the Mission X. This was revealed to tie in with Porsche's 75th anniversary, and what sort of 75-year-old wouldn't want a brand new 1000 HP hypercar to play with for their birthday? Porsche said that the Mission X is technically a concept car for now. After all, like the Carrera started as a concept car at the 2000 Paris Motor Show. Porsche said there's a chance the Mission X whether could actually go into production back then. I know what you're thinking. So many car makers say this all the time, and their cars never actually get built. But when Porsche, that's not all. Porsche has already revealed some very specific performance targets for this new Mission X. And you don't go around promising stats like this without planning to back them up in future, especially if you're a massive global brand. Like Porsche, some of these numbers are absolutely bonkers, and I'll tell you about them in a bit, but before we get into the car's performance, I want to talk about the way it looks. In short, it looks incredible. It's very different from the 919 Street that Porsche revealed a few years ago. It definitely isn't just a Le Mans car with some nice paint, some new wheels, and a set of indicators. It's a completely new car that Porsche designed from the ground up. One of the most head-turning things about it are the headlights. Instead of round lamps, like on almost every other Porsche, you get 4 vertical bars on each side. They look a bit like someone's taken the headlights off a 963 racing car and flipped them round by 90 degrees. Speaking of which, the Mission X definitely takes some inspiration from that racing car silhouette. When you look at it from the side, it's very low, very long, and very aerodynamic. Even the retro-style wheels have aero covers at back, like old Porsche Group C cars. Speaking of which, the back of the Mission Z's obviously been designed with aerodynamics in mind. You don't get a huge rear wing, but there's an absolutely giant diffuser that takes up almost the entire rear bodywork. This helps the Mission X produce even more downforce than a 911 GT 3 RS, and that car, with its gigantic rear wing, produces 860 downforce at 177 miles an hour. Somehow, Porsche has managed to top this figure without giving the Mission X loads of wings and splitters like the GT3 RS does. So it'll actually look quite subtle for a hypercar. Porsche did this on purpose to prove that hypercars don't have to look aggressive. So listen to Pagani and Koenigsegg. Porsche reckons you're all doing it wrong with your angry-looking hypercars. Well, that's what Porsche said about the exterior, at least, because the Mission X's interior is actually pretty leery, especially on this prototype. For some reason, Porsche decided to fit two-tone seats trimmed in white and brown. It makes the driver's seat look like an ice cream cone. The white steering wheel is another strange touch. You might want to wear driving gloves in his car, otherwise that wheel is going to look pretty grubby after a few thousand miles. But ignore the dirt magnet color scheme for a second, because this steering wheel makes the Yokoina Tesla Model S Plaid look about as high-tech as a pair of handlebars. Although there is one area where Porsche has gone old school: the stopwatch on the dashboard. Porsche has been fitting analog stopwatches to its cars as part of the Sport Chroner pack for years. But this Mission X also gets a full digital display packed with various lap time information. I suppose it'll give your passenger something to do while you're hooning around the Nürburgring. And speaking of the Nürburgring, Porsche has a lofty goal in sight for the new Mission X. It wants its hypercar to break the lap record for road legal cars around this legendary racetrack. The current record for a road car was set by Mercedes with the AMG 1. It completed a lap in 6 minutes, 35.18 seconds. That's more than 8 seconds quicker than the previous record. which was set by a Porsche 911 G2 RS with some upgraded parts from Manta Racing. It's also about 22 seconds quicker than the lap time set by a Porsche 918 Spider back in 2013. It's easy to see how the AMG 1 is so quick because it's as close to a road legal racing car as you can get. It has the same 1.6-liter turbocharged 6 engine as a Mercedes 2015 Formula 1 car.